everybody, and welcome to the Shining Athletes podcast, our first ever episode. I'm Tyler Baum,
I'm Erin Millay.
and we're co-hosts of the Shining Athletes podcast, and we welcome you to our launch episode. Very
Yeah.
excited. Today, we're going to go into talking about time management, understanding the importance of how to use time management when you are a student athlete. And we have a great interview with Tatum, and she tells a great story about playing at different levels and understanding what the college process is really like. So, Erin, I just want to ask you, how would you describe time management and understand the importance of time management?
So, obviously, from an education standpoint, you cannot thrive if you don't have time management and your best tool in your toolbox. You need to be able to know how to prioritize sports, academics, social life, and other life things, especially like going to college. A lot of students forget like you have to do laundry, you have to do dishes. Like there's life things that you just need to work out and balance in your own schedule. And I think Tatum did a great job articulating. Yeah, it was hard, but she did so much on her end by taking initiative, being vulnerable, and just asking for help. And she was able to run an entire show and be a walk on athlete, which is insane and says a lot about who she is and her character.
I agree. I agree. And there's a lot to take out of this interview, understanding
Mhm.
what it takes to be a student athlete. Being a student athlete is more than just, oh, I play a sport. There's the educational piece, there's the developmental piece of being an athlete. And she describes the difference between the intramural process, the club process, and then being a D1 athlete, what it's
Mhm.
really like, and the competitive levels. And you can see there's a difference at each level, understanding that there's different priorities at each level and how you approach being a student athlete, because being a student athlete at every level is a different definition.
Totally.
So let's get right into this interview. I'm excited for everybody to hear Tatum's story, and let's get right into it.
It's awesome. Check it out.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Shining Athletes podcast. We're excited to have a special guest today and hear a special story. We have Tatum. Tatum, welcome to the podcast. We appreciate you coming on. And this is my co-host, Erin. Congratulations on graduation and ASU. And Tatum, welcome. I'm excited to tell people about your story.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Again, thank you so much, Tatum, for taking the time to speak with Shining Athletes. So, as we get started, can you just share a little bit about who you are, where you got to, and what you're doing right now?
So I grew up in Illinois and I played basketball my whole life since I was dribbling balls since I was like 2 years old probably. Since I could walk, I would just dribble, play out in the driveway and stuff. But I joined my first team when I was in fourth grade. A lot of my friends played like first grade and up, and I didn't even know that was a thing back then. But whatever. I like playing basketball. I was really tall. I'm 6 feet tall, so I mean that kind of went into consideration with like what sports I would play. I think growing up, and I also played tennis. My dad played college tennis, and so he taught me since 4 years old. Um, and so I love playing tennis. It was a great summer sport in Chicago. So yeah, I love doing that. Played in high school, both of those sports. I did a few other sports, like when you're young, whatever, but I kind of just stuck with tennis and basketball. I got into varsity my sophomore year for both sports, and then started getting looked at my junior year for basketball. I didn't even know what college basketball was really growing up. I just really didn't really know. But I played AAU and club basketball, travel basketball, whatever, growing up, just so I could be good for high school, I guess, and just like develop my skills, have something to do year round. So I don't know, I loved playing sports when I was younger, and it was just like a fun thing to do. And then, yeah, I went to ASU, Arizona State, and then I majored in accounting and graduated this spring. So, I mean, there's a lot more in between there, but that's like a gist of
Yeah, no,
growing
that's
up until,
awesome.
yeah.
When you said you played in high school before coming to college, can you talk a little bit more about what that was like when you were in high school? Did you have any recruiters? Did you have any resources? How did you navigate that?
Yeah, so my freshman year it started. I'm just trying to get good at basketball. Don't know what college is at this point. I'm the oldest in my family. My dad wasn't huge on pushing, nobody was huge on pushing college sports on me anyway. So, like, I was just doing to have fun, right? So, that was freshman year. I was not that good at either sport. It was my first year, like, trying to be competitive, I guess. And so, my sophomore year, or I guess my freshman year off season, I played club or AAU, and I just put in a lot of work, tried getting good so I can be good for my high school, right? So,
Totally.
sophomore year, I was like a bench player, but I was still trying to play, put in reps. And then junior year is when um, I I had just started. I was a starter for junior year, but I tore my thumb, which was crazy, in summer camp. And so I was playing with like a brace on my right thumb the whole year.
Oh my God.
And it was like our first tournament in the fall, like before season started. But I was lighting it up. I was starting shooting threes and everything. And so that was when my first college basketball recruiter looked at me. And it was like a D3 in Iowa. I didn't know what D3 even meant. I was like, oh, cool, like at college. And then I remember them like coming up to talk to me afterwards. And they're like, so what do you want to major in? I'm like, I don't know, business, maybe something like that. Because both my parents are in business, and
Yeah.
I didn't even think about like that kind of stuff yet. And
Mhm.
so when they asked them like something missing, they're like, "Oh, we have a great business school, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, sure, sure."
That's
So that was
so
like the first
exciting.
experience I had, and they were super nice. And my coach, my high school coach, was a big help. I think that's somebody that tried their best navigating me through everything. Because my
Mhm.
dad, he did play a college sport, but times have changed so much since
Totally.
then. So I don't know. It was good to have more perspective, and he's helped like other people get into college sports and whatnot. So I was asking him a lot of questions throughout my year, and then next thing I know, other people are reaching out. And meanwhile, like I didn't reach out to anybody at this time because I didn't like it wasn't something that really was on my mind, like college sports. But my junior year, I was pretty good at basketball and tennis. Actually, I was pretty good at both. So whatever, I'm still just having fun. But then towards the end of my junior year, it kind of just seemed like a lot more pressure to actually pursue a college sport.
Mhm.
But everybody kept saying, no D1, no D1, don't do that. It's like too much work. My dad played D1. He's like, that's probably just not the move for you. And I'm like, okay. So like I loved playing basketball. So I'm like, okay, I mean, that'd be kind of cool to play after high
Mhm.
school, I guess. So I was looking at D3, and then I realized there's this like D2, and D2, like they offer you some money, and I'm like, oh, that's good. Save
Yeah.
money. That's always good. But in the back of my mind, like priority was always academics. And so I
Sure.
just want to make sure whoever I was talking to, and my parents definitely pushed like academics on me. So I was trying to figure out like what was a good school that I could also save money and play basketball, and like there's all these things like coming at you that you like goes into a decision
Yeah.
picking a college. So I mean, picking a college was is tough. It's so tough, and I was between 13 different schools, some basketball, some not basketball, big, small, in Illinois, not in Illinois. So it was a huge mess, and I think having a good family and coach, and I don't know, there was a lot of different things coming at me, and they're
Mhm.
helping me. So I had a lot of support through the whole process with my coach and my family. That's for sure.
How did you choose ASU at the end of the day? How did it come down to it where you wanted to move across the country, far from your family? And
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was a weird year, my senior year, because up through junior year, I was still thinking about college basketball a little bit and talking to coaches. Like I started reaching out to people, and I had some good looks and toured a few schools. Florida was not like good weather is always something that
Always a bonus.
yeah, it's always a bonus. And so it was just getting rough in the winter
Hmm.
time. And then the spring of junior year, right after my basketball season, I got like all conference. It was a really successful year. I was looking forward. And then COVID hit. I don't even want to get into because that was so abnormal that like I don't even
Yeah.
know that I hope that never happens again, but whatever. So that was a whole circumstance of mine that pushed a lot of basketball back. AAU season got cut short. I didn't get as many looks that summer as I wanted just because of the circumstance. And
Hmm.
so then after that summer, people were like redshirting and then coaches were reclining offers a little bit. They didn't have as many spots open, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, then going into senior year, the season was getting pushed back. Didn't even know if we were going to play. And then I'm still like trying to decide on a school. Oh, actually, I went to Arizona my senior year for my birthday, like in October too. So that was right before season as well. And they didn't have as many restrictions here
Hmm.
in Arizona compared to Chicago. So whatever. I really enjoyed like my trip. I still wasn't looking like at the school wise because I don't know. I still kind of had my heart set on the basketball school, and this one's too big, and my mom came out here too much. I kind of wanted some independence type thing. So
For sure.
it was nice for the visit type thing. And then I had my basketball season. And then during basketball season, I don't know, I got a little burnt, which was tough. And I also had my tennis season right before, and tennis was great. I went to state for tennis, which was pretty sick, but because
Congrats.
thank you. But because of COVID, we like couldn't finish state. It was just a whole mess. So whatever. I love tennis, and then I had some beef with like my basketball team. I'm just like not loving it as much,
Hmm.
and that always stinks when that happens to a lot of people, where you just kind of fall out of love of the sport because of
Yeah.
that, which kind of stinks. So whatever. I still stuck through it, even though I was kind of salty about certain things from basketball, but I still had a great year. But then in the end, I didn't decide until April, like before I went to college, that I think I'm gonna go to Arizona State. It was a really good accounting school, which is what I majored in.
Hmm.
I got into like an honors college, warm weather. I have a lot of family out here. I just loved it. I wanted something new, and I didn't want a bunch of pressure, and I didn't want to pay for a D3 liberal arts school that just
I hear that.
like was probably in the middle of nowhere. The ones that were looking at me, I don't know. It's just the people that I
Totally.
had. It wasn't the best option. So I just wanted to make sure I had a good college experience. And yeah, so I then picked ASU.
Coming from the experience of transitioning into ASU, and I know freshman year was a little bit different. Your sophomore year, your experience changed a lot with starting to play college basketball and understanding that path. How did you transition into that, and how did day-to-day life change from freshman year to sophomore year?
Yeah, sure. So freshman year, I tried out for the club tennis team. There was no club basketball team actually for women. I think I tried like talking to the club basketball for men's, but it didn't
Oh,
seem
really?
like, yeah, I think I did my freshman year, like when y'all were tabling or something, but
Shout out
then
Nikki.
yeah. But it seemed like it was like a men's only type thing. So like, fine, whatever. I got tennis, so I was still a little burned from basketball, whatever. So I tried out for tennis. There's 80 girls trying out for 10 spots, whatever. I made it. So
Yay.
that was super fun. And also a girl from one of my really close friends from high school.
Mhm.
She was my tennis partner, my doubles partner in high school, and she came to ASU with me, which was
Oh,
super
wow.
fun. It was the only person I knew from back home, and we didn't room together. You want to branch out type thing, but we both tried out. But I stuck through it, and it was like she kind of pushed me to do it too because she wanted to do it. So it was a cool experience either way. And like I still played tennis with her and other people. It's just such a casual, like fun sport. Then I traveled for club tennis actually a lot. We went to New Mexico and U of A, a little south in Arizona and northern Arizona.
Just
And
if they had
so
a club basketball team, right?
what?
Just if U of A had a club basketball team,
I know, but they don't.
right?
I'm so sad. Yeah, club tennis was super fun. I made super close friends and we got to travel and we were really good and competitive, so it was super fun. And that was my freshman year. And then I also played intramural sports. There's like intramural basketball that I did a lot, and that's just like people from your school playing each other and make your own teams, and I would win type thing. And my but there's different divisions. So there's a women's division, and but there weren't enough girls who played basketball or like wanted to sign up, I guess. So it'd be like women in sororities, and then me playing sorority girls, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So it wasn't the prettiest thing, but I started like being more competitive in basketball again, playing that. You play that like once a week, and then I'd be in like the men's division too to get actual good runs, and and so that was super fun. But I played pickup a lot too, and I did that a few times a night, and then I met other girls that way who played basketball, and they were like pretty good. So I'd have them on my team, and that was fun. We'd win, and then I don't know, I just in the competitiveness with like girls, like playing with guys is fun, but it's different
It's
playing with
different.
girls. Yeah,
Like the
and
community
so
is different.
and then one of my friends that I met playing pickup, he knew a girl on the women's D1 team and was like, you should come play with us. Like we're playing pickup or whatever. So I played pickup with this girl and him and some random people. And she's like, dude, you're good. You should try out. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Oh, I remember I also went to a few of the women's basketball games. So I was like, maybe I could try out. I don't know. And I don't know, that kind of got me going, like going to those games. It was super fun, but it's like, man, I kind of wish I was out there. And then this girl was like, you should try out. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. And we had like a whole new coaching staff coming in the next year. Pia's other one retired, I think. And that was just a crazy circumstance that opened the door for me as well. So my spring of my freshman year, I was reaching out to the coaches, but it was really hard to reach them because they were transitioning in. So I reached out in the spring, and I didn't hear back until August, I think, right before my sophomore year. So that whole summer I was working as a tennis coach actually, and back in Illinois. I went home, and it's way less hot there than here. So I'm like, yes, I need to go to Illinois. So, yeah, then sophomore year, they reached back and they're like, yeah, you send me some films. I sent them some film, and they're okay, let's do a tryout. You gotta pass all these, like, do all these medical exams and whatnot and get ready. I'm like, okay. So it was October was my tryout date, and it was just me. I didn't really know how the whole setup was going to be, but it was just me in this gym, and it was so cool. I remember walking in a huge facility, super nice, and I just like couldn't believe this was actually happening. I'm like, how did I go from not even wanting to like play basketball at all to then like trying to walk onto a D1 team? And I remember it was October 16th, and my birthday. Oh wait, no, it was October 18th, and my birthday was the day before. So I was like, I'm on a high right now. I'm feeling it, feeling good. And they put me like through a few drills, and I played one-on-one with the team manager, who is a really good friend of mine now. And he low-key destroyed me, which was so unfortunate. I was like, I'm not making this team. Like I kept shooting threes at least, and I was like trying to show him what I can do, I guess. And it just wasn't looking great. So I kind of like felt pretty defeated after. I'm like dying. I haven't worked out that hard in like a year at least. And then they come over to me after and they're like, you made it. I'm like, no way. So that was crazy. And little did I know how much my life would change after that moment. Was just like the biggest change I've had. Going into freshman year, yeah, that's a change and they're moving away, but nothing compared to that day. Everything just seemed to change. I don't know. It's just crazy. So, they brought me in, got me some like gear and whatnot. I'm like, wow, this is happening so fast. But I like looked around. They didn't have that many girls. A lot of people were injured. New coaching staff, people transferred out the year before. So I was just there like help out, I guess. I was on the roster, traveled with the team, played in a few games. Not many, not significant minutes, but I was still there.
Minutes are minutes.
And yeah, I have a stat. Okay, I have an assist. So yeah,
Um,
not many people can say that. Just saying.
how did in the behind the scenes of just the travel and being a D1 athlete, how did your day-to-day life change in the sense of after making the team and your time management and understanding what you needed to do so that your academics were still a priority, but you're also that student athlete that you've always wanted to be?
Sure, yeah. So I joined mid-semester, and that was, yeah, in October. It's like pretty much right after midterms. So I had my classes set, and they have their practices set. So
Mhm.
in the beginning of that semester, I couldn't even go to all my classes, which was kind of tough for me. A lot of people that were on my team, they did like online schooling and stuff like that. But unfortunately, like I was already in class mid semester, so I had to learn that the hard way. And unfortunately, I did miss classes, but my coach was like pretty flexible with like helping me if I had to, scoot out of practice for a little test or something, like a little quiz, whatever it was. They were pretty flexible with that, but academics were always top of my list. Because
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I'm set after college. That's just a value that I had. So with that, like in the back of my mind, I always knew studies came first, and I was always able to talk to my coach about that as well, which was really nice. And she understood. So, yeah, we had to travel. Like, once it got into season in like November, December, it really started picking up once you get into conference, and your whole weekend is literally gone. And it's like cool traveling like the first few times, and then um, I don't know, it gets exhausting. It does.
Sure.
It's a lot. And so I'm like studying on the bus, studying in the hotel. I'm trying to balance doing all of that, but they're getting a little burnt out for sure. But you kind of just have to like look at the positives and great opportunity with everything. And I felt like I just tried to keep a positive outlook the whole time, even though I was in the slumps a lot for sure. I put a lot of pressure on myself to help the team, and we didn't win that many times either. So I'm just like, I want to do everything I can, go the extra yard. And so I don't know, I was trying to reach out to people and see what I could do. And team chemistry was always, it was a little rough, like our first year, so I don't know. I always tried to go above and beyond for like the team culture, but I also, like I said, like balancing like times in my study schedule. Those were just two important factors for me. And obviously, I had to quit club tennis that year. Oh, actually, okay. So right before I walked on, I was vice president of club tennis. So they
Oh
elected
my
me for
God.
vice president, and I'm like, so then I had to move my responsibilities over to my friend, and I helped him actually that whole semester, like transitioning him into that role as well. So like my big thing, like I don't want to let other people down either. So, I don't want to totally destroy club tennis because I just walked on to basketball. I don't want them to feel like I'm ditching them and leaving them in the dark. So I had to help them out and then try to make time for friends and study and time to eat and sleep. Like it was a lot. So I think it was pretty hard because I couldn't see my friends during the traveling and weekends. And
Mhm.
so it would definitely take some extra effort, but like that's all it is. It might not be as easy, but like just making a little bit of initiative and reaching out when you have time, even if it's just like they're on your way to your walk back to your apartment, just stop by and like make sure you have that support system that's like always been there for me. And I think that's always important to like not forget the people that have always been there for you as well. So it's super important to know your value, like your goals for the rest of your life, and just know in the far sight, not be so nearsighted into college.
Mhm.
Your career, unless I guess if you want to play a professional sport, that's good too. But make your priority about that then. So my value wasn't always to play the WNBA, and I acknowledged that early on. And so, it was about having a career. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot to balance, and it was basketball like 40 hours a week
That's like a
more.
job, like
It
a
really is a
real
job.
full-time
And
job.
I was a walk-on and didn't get paid. So think about that too. It was
Mhm.
just a lot that year to balance. And everybody else on my team was like scholarship. And, that was kind of my goal moving forward. But I didn't have there was no very clear communication on if that was going to actually happen. And, I was really draining myself down. And I just had to balance to see if it was worth continuing on. If I wasn't getting paid, I wasn't getting playing time, and I wasn't making that many friends either. So, and then like I had to sacrifice some of my grades. Sophomore year was definitely not the best of my grades. And then after that, I mean, it was a whole different story. So yeah, that was my sophomore year balancing. All in all, it wasn't too terrible, and I still maintained my friendships, and I didn't tank my grades completely.
Mhm.
So um, I think it was a success overall. It was a great opportunity. That it was just a super cool experience, and everybody always asked me for gear and shirts and whatnot. So
So transitioning into that kind of segue. I know me and you both have been a part of club basketball. Know about the experience now that we're 3 years into this. How did you transition into wanting to start the women's team at ASU and kind of make the culture you built at ASU club wise?
Mhm. Well, so like I said, freshman year there was no women's club basketball team, only men's. And then even like intramurals, they started not wanting women to play like in the men's leagues and stuff. Not I was the only one that really affected because no other girl would play in the men's league. But
Mhm.
like I wanted to be competitive in sports. And so before I even walked on or thought about walking on, I was like, am I going to walk on or am I going to start a club basketball team? Because I was vice president of tennis at this time, or I was going to be vice president of tennis. And after that, I think that experience helped me learn how to manage and lead a club team. So that
Mhm.
was a super big influence. And as vice president, I was in charge of finances and whatnot. I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff. But I learned a lot of how to manage club teams. So after I decided I was going to stop playing D1 because I focused on my internship and my career instead. Overall, it was just like the best choice for me. And so after that, I was like a little angry and confused and whatever. So it was a rough time in the beginning, like trying to accept that I wasn't playing a sport that was my whole life for that year. It seemed
Totally.
like, uh, but I still loved basketball, and I wanted to give an outlet to other girls at ASU or in college that they're kind of like me. They didn't know what to do. You play college or have
Mhm.
fun and whatnot. So I wanted to make it an easier avenue to like balance everything you want to do in college and not just make that your whole life. And so, nice summer after sophomore year, in the middle of my internship, okay, I'm going to start reaching out, seeing how to start a club sport. And so, I knew like club directors already from tennis and was reaching out, looking at leagues to join, people to be on my team. That's
Mhm.
always important. So, then this other girl, she was big into the intramurals and she was good at basketball. That's for sure. And she reached out to me and wanted me to be on her intramural team like the next fall. I'm like, okay, hear me out. Let's do club basketball instead. And she's like, oh shoot, yeah. She's been wanting to do that too. And the amount of people who have been wanting this, but it's a hard jump to take, and like it's a
Totally.
risk to take to put yourself out there to make one. So since I had the resources, I had the knowledge and experience of being on that like e-board. Without
Mhm.
that, it would have been so much different, so much harder to do. So her and I, we definitely helped start that up. With her help, it was great, and it took a few months for sure, but then it kind of just fell into place. Help from the men's club basketball team too, you know.
That's
We
awesome.
got a lot of advice from them and helped us get our jerseys, and the school provides funding, and yeah, it was a great experience to it was a tough one, it was a long one, but you know, then after that it all pays off once you see people join the team and they're all having fun. I'm like, this is what it's all about. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, to kind of add off of that, I want to know more. What was your experience with club basketball and how you traveled for club basketball? I know it was a change from the first year you started the club till the current day, but how was that experience? And now that you got the full experience of going to nationals and being a part of a really successful team at nationals, how does that kind of come together as you graduated?
yeah, the first year it was interesting. We only had one team my first year. We're trying to get any girl we can. Had didn't have many dues. Other sports teams you have to pay a little bit of money to like
Hmm.
participate, but like not nearly as much as you did in high school even. So whatever, we were trying to keep it down, trying to get interest in, and so we had like 15 girls
Hmm.
practice a couple times a week. Not that many people showed up, so we would kind of play with the men's team, help practice with us too, and we were just trying to get runs, trying to get better, and it was definitely a learning year, I would say. You have to do volunteering and you have to attend other club sports and to get money from the school. So we're kind of just like learning the ways. And traveling that year really consisted of the Arizona area. And we just went
Hmm.
to like a local college where the league was hosted. So we'd have to drive 45 minutes once a week, once or twice a week for a couple months. And then we finished in second place in that league out of like 8 teams or something, which for our first year, like I was okay with that for sure.
Yeah.
And that was super cool. And everybody had so much fun. And I felt like it was a way easier balance. You know, people are like, oh, I have an exam tomorrow. I'm like, okay, that's fine too. So we were definitely more like laid back that first year. And the second year, we added another team. We wanted to like be more, a little bit more competitive. You know, we learned that some of the girls wish they played a little bit more on the other team, but we had like 15 girls on the other team. So, okay, let's add another team, make two different teams, put them both in
Hmm.
this league. So we were in the same league as we were last year, but then we got more funding from the school, which was nice. And so I had experience with traveling and like how to make travel orders and whatnot for tennis. And so I was reaching out to schools to play against, and we ended up playing at UCLA and winning their whole tournament in November, my senior year, and this last year. And that was super cool. Just traveling with a team and bonding in that way is a whole different experience. Um, and yeah, so we traveled to UCLA. We continued playing in our league. Then we got invited to the NERSA club sport regional tournament that is hosted at the place that we usually play, actually. But we played a bunch of different teams than we normally do, which was fun. And we ended up winning that against the team we lost in the conference last year or whatever. So I don't know. It was a huge like regional. I won the 3-point contest too, which was fun. They have all these different things you do there, and that was late spring
Hmm.
and or not late spring. It was like whatever spring season, February actually, early spring. And yeah, so we top of regionals, and that got us a free bid to nationals
That's
in
awesome.
April, and we were so excited. But like we would have to fly to that, which we haven't done before. I've never even done that for tennis, so flying was a whole different thing, and it cost a lot more money, obviously. So thankfully, we did a lot of fundraising that year, and we were able to get the funds to travel to Wisconsin, where there were 30 teams, I think, went for the women. But the
That's
men's tournament was also
awesome.
there. Yeah, it was super cool. And so we took one team, our top team for that one, just because the expenses and everything.
Hmm.
And we had some pool play going on and seated pretty well for the bracket play. we see pretty well for that. It was definitely a wake up call though, going into pool play and a bunch of different teams that were from a lot from like the Midwest, and they were all like really good, really tall. And I'm like the tallest one on my team, but I played the guard in for D1, and it's been a while since I played post. So I'm like trying to play post, and um, it was super cool though. And yeah, we ended up finishing top 8, losing to
Congrats.
University of South Carolina. But I for our first year going to nationals, it was awesome, and I think every year we're just going to get better, and you just have to start somewhere. So I was super happy.
So with during your junior and senior year when you were the president, did you feel less pressure than playing club than you did playing for the Division 1 team? You feel like you had way more freedom to live your life in a sense and have the flexibility to outside of being in the gym do pay more attention to the academic side, I should say.
Oh, for sure. My grades in itself were like so much better. And, we're only practicing like twice a week. Some people practice more, but probably shorter practices or closer to campus, whatever. It was a lot nicer on my body, first of all. Like D1 just destroyed my body. I would have to go to the trainer every day for something, right? So that was taking up a lot of time, and traveling wasn't nearly as much, but it was like just the right amount that you get to play, like be competitive, play against other teams, and it was a really good balance.
Yeah, myself being a part of club basketball, shout out the SU club basketball teams. With the journey of playing club basketball, I want to know kind of your perspective. Do you think on the court you developed mentally as a basketball player? Do you think you developed a lot through club basketball?
Through club basketball, for sure. I mean, I was still a leader, and there was a lot of learning curves I had to take, like from being just a walk on from at
Mhm.
D1. I mean, sure, I was like captain stuff in high school, but it's like been a while. And then being president felt like everybody's looking up to me, but I'm also just trying to make sure everybody's having fun while still playing like a sport they love. And
Totally.
they also like I don't want them to feel too much pressure or me to feel too much pressure. And we're kind of like all in this together, especially the first year. I kind of made it so it was like, okay, we're all kind of learning. Like, if you guys have anything to say, like, I was very open to any communication. Like, please, like, I need help, you need help. Let's just help each other, whatever. So I think that kind of leadership style of getting help when you need it, accepting that you can't do everything by yourself,
For sure.
um, was a huge aspect of that. So I think they both developed me in different ways. And with both of them, I felt I became a better leader and wanted to help people and not put too much pressure on people either. So
Oh, I love that story. I love how basketball is starting to become a path for athletes. I feel like that might not have those top-notch ceiling goals that want to develop and can get to those goals, but it's a different route. It's for sure a different route, but it's still a student athlete process, regardless if it's a D1 level or a club level, you're still a student athlete and going through a lot of that. So
for sure.
Tatum, we appreciate you coming on our podcast and being our first guest. This was a great episode. I loved hearing your story, and thank you for participating.
Of course, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Well, that was an amazing story from Tatum. I really appreciate her coming on and being a part of our podcast and being our first ever guest.
She was so like wholesome and
Yeah,
like humble about everything. But she did a lot in 4 years.
she did. By the time this is up, it's our launch day, so
Yay.
very excited to announce that it is launch day, and we are excited to start working with clients and helping our future athletes develop into the athletes they want to be. So, Aaron,
Yeah.
thank you for being my co-host, and
Thank you.
see you guys on the next episode.
See ya. And if you're interested, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear your story.